Recordings running. Oh, the recordings are running.
Good.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to a Friday edition of the New Media Show. My name is Todd Cochran. Of course, I want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. Rob, how you doing?
Doing terrific, Todd. Guess who knows? Who knows what could happen, right?
Yeah, well, all plans change. I was scheduled, like you, scheduled to go to New York next week. I was
Yep.
going to go back down the office in Columbus on Tuesday, and I could hardly sleep on Thursday night. I was debating what to do. We gave the employees the option of working from home if they wanted to, and or I talked about it. And I came in Friday morning and just said, "Listen, I'm going to encourage everyone to work from home." And worked on that plan yesterday, and a few of the folks came in the office today. A few. And but Angela's going to be at the office, and then if someone comes in has to have a question, they'll answer a question. But largely, we are going on a week-to-week basis and having my team at least work from home. So, and of course, a lot of our folks are already remote, so it's not a big deal.
It's the same thing with sending everybody home too, and like you, remote. Rob Wolf, remote. Dave's remote. Nelsie is remote as
Yeah.
well. He's extremely so. Um, so we're all good on that. Quick adjustment for us.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, I don't know if you can. It's a little quiet on my end.
Okay, I'll
If you
just
turn it,
speak up a bit.
yeah, or if you
Speak
can
up a little
turn your
bit.
volume up just a tad.
Okay.
I'm on that new Mac Mini here, so that it might be on my end too, because I tried to tweak it best I could. But yeah, so it's just kind of, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are, you know, going to working remotely. And to be honest with you, you have to. I'm lucky. I've got an office to come to that's just me,
Right.
and so I can get up in the morning and shower, shave, get dressed, and come in and actually have a place to be, which is different than the house, and people that are home, you really have to you got to have some dedication. You have to have some, you know, people that aren't used to working at home. It's real easy to get distracted by the TV or something
Mm-hmm.
else that may be on. So I'm sure productivity will suffer a little bit, but what we're trying to do is we're going to do a morning a morning meeting just like we normally do,
Mm-hmm.
except do it via, do a video conference. And then in the afternoon, we're going to do have an open office hours for 30, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see maybe productivity will go up. I
I would
don't
say
know.
so. I've been working for. I think I'm more productive at home than I ever was. For years working the campus, those open desk format. Did that for years.
Hey, Rob, keep talking. I'm going to go turn you up. They say they can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're really low.
I'm really over modulating on all. I don't know what else to do, but yeah, I think we're more being in an office. Frankly, I think it cuts down on the collaboration that can easily be solved through the instant messaging and communications tools that we have today. So just a matter of working our way through it, and those that aren't used to working at home, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for you. So of how to actually do that. Um, yeah. So I'm kind of like popping red light on my end, Todd. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
if
I've turned you up here. So
did you? Okay. Okay. So everybody hear me better now? So
Yeah, I've got you turned up as high as I.
Oh, have you? Okay. Yeah, I turned up and like I said, I've got peak light um, going off on my stuff here. So um, I don't know if it's Skype. Could be Skype.
Well, again, I've got this new setup.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I
Well,
think in the past I've been low on the show, and then other times I've been high. Um, I know when we've done like StreamYard and stuff, I think our volume levels are really, really good. So I don't know. It's just something about the complex um, setup that you have there, Todd.
well, yeah, I got it's. You're coming out of a headphone jack, and I have that
Oh,
turned all the way up.
oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got it like max, and it just goes into the mixer. So
Right, right.
I don't. When I can't, if you can't be louder on your side, because when you make an adjustment, I don't hear any change. So it's like nothing happens when you make a change. So it just stays the same.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so it is what it is, and hopefully everyone is going to be good. But we got a lot
Yeah,
of people watching,
yeah.
so Facebook crowd is up,
That's
watching us
good.
go through technical difficulties.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so everyone's remote working, and here we are. But what does that really mean for podcasting?
I think it's an interesting question. I've been thinking about it here over the last couple of days as this situation has been unfolding, trying to figure out, well, what is the impact from this? Are we going to see a potential pullback on the advertising side? And frankly, that's not really a massive side of the industry, really, when it comes right down to it from a podcaster perspective. I mean, there's far more shows that don't care about advertising. So I think this may be, a good time for podcasts. I think online communications is going to skyrocket. I think people are working from home. I think the internet is how people can communicate still and be safe. So I think in a lot of ways this is going to be boom time for online uh, communications of all sorts, whether it be video, audio, podcast, online radio, and I mean people can still watch television. So I think all those mediums are going to become very, very popular, and podcasting is as far as I'm concerned, it's the best of all the mediums, right, Todd?
You know, the audio to me, someone's just saying it sounds scratchy. You sound perfect to me in my headset. I don't hear
Yeah, yeah,
anything that's bad audio. So
yeah. I don't know. There's so many things that can affect that, right? It can be at the list too.
yeah, but yeah, I don't hear anything on the audio side that's you just go a little quiet.
Okay.
So I don't know. When the last time we had a recession, though, advertising spend went up. So I'm not worried about the advertising piece, but and I think podcasters are largely doing their shows. The majority of us, the 99%, are doing our shows in our homes, and so I don't think podcast production is going to be affected. Maybe some of the pro shows are going to be affected that are dependent upon studios.
Right, and bringing guests in to the studio, right? I think that is going to be probably affected. I think in-person conversations is going to definitely be affected by the because people aren't going to be traveling as much. Um, people getting together is going to happen less. But just like what we're doing, Todd, here, this is the safest way possible. There's no way you can get a coronavirus through an internet connection,
No. So
as
that's
far as I know, right?
yeah. So I think overall, though, we're going to end up, having, I guess we'll see what happens with my team. The productivity is going to be what the productivity is going to be. And I tell everyone to communicate. When you have a question,
Right.
Let's not necessarily use Slack. Let's pick up the phone. Let's do a video conference. Let's just make sure that we're communicating and overall, I think we'll end up okay.
Yeah, and I think that what we're going to see is a lot more virtual conferences start to pop up. I think people are going to be trying to do stuff using like StreamYard and um, um, you know, those type of platforms. I think are going to become very popular. as a method of marketing, as a method of communications, and shows. So I just think that's gonna this is boom time for those guys. I hope Gage over at StreamYard is you know getting real focused right now. 'Cause it's going to get very busy.
Well, I even noticed Zoom this morning was loading a little slow,
Yeah,
and I think it's just because probably the meeting numbers are up.
yeah.
Yeah, I just
So
checked the master going into the TriCaster, and audio sounds okay. So, from a monitoring standpoint, I don't understand where the issue may or may not be. So, no one's here. Hey, those of you watching the stream, you're not hearing scratchy audio, are you? Just let us know.
yeah, yeah. You guys can let us know. I mean, Todd sounds great on my end, so
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
you sound
sure.
great here, and you sound great at this plug-in that I have over here, where I can monitor the ultimate
Okay,
mix out. So,
yeah.
but
Well,
anyway,
Todd,
so go
I
ahead.
mean, if you want to talk about all the events that have canceled, I don't know if all have heard that the NAB is done. That's a over 100,000 person show canceled. The Tom Webster event back in New York City is just going to be all virtual, just like what he's really always done in the past. So there's not going to be any in-person audience like he was planning on. Um, and I think it's a big question mark whether or not podcast movement's even going to this year.
I think we'll be well past that by then.
Think
Yeah.
so? Okay.
Absolutely. This
Okay.
is at some point. Come on, at some point, this. Let's say they don't get it under control. We
Right.
can't. It's going to become the new norm. People are just going to, we're going to have to do what we do.
Well, and
And
it's very possible that next year we'll all have to get 2 flu vaccines or something like that. I mean, that could be long term what the impact is.
well, they're saying 18 months on a vaccine, so we'll see what happens. Maybe if they clean
Yeah,
up
I
the
think
red
it'll
tape.
come probably quicker than that.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to speculate on any type of treatments or anything like that. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to change my lifestyle besides trying to be, use a little common sense here.
Mhm.
So that's the main thing. But someone was saying that they seen podcast downloads decrease. So this should be the opposite. I'll have to check today, but the downloads should not decrease on a network. Matter of fact, with more people listening, we should have the number should continue to go up. Because people have, people are not listening while they're at work.
Well, Todd, we could be going through a phase, and I think we saw this with 9/11, where people um, are searching for news sources, right?
Right.
So people are trying to get different types of content that can really help keep them informed with what's happening with the pandemic, and that could be where we could see a hit on numbers in the short. But as people kind of feel comfortable that they have an understanding of what they need to do and get settled in, yeah, I think podcasting will probably see a spike again. But I know I've been spending a lot of time trying to keep up with the news about what's happening as well, and haven't been listening to as many podcasts per se.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, they're saying you sound overdriven, but you're not being processed on my end at all. I don't understand what's going on because
okay, I'll I mean, I'm getting peak red lights over. So I
so
have to
maybe
turn
that's the
it down.
problem. Come off red on your side. But you
Okay,
sound in my ear,
uh,
you sound perfect.
okay, all right.
I don't
So
understand it.
I turned it down and I'm not peaked anymore. So anyway, okay. So hopefully that's good enough and doesn't lower my volume even more. But I think it sounds good on my end. So
Yeah, the audio going out is definitely different than what I'm hearing here. So I'm gonna make one more adjustment. We'll see if I can fix this. Something is
okay,
cutting off, but you're not being processed, so I don't get it.
yeah. I guess podcast movement had a meetup planned in Las Vegas on April 21st. I guess that's been canceled as well, which makes sense because that's in the time frame of the NAB show. Let's see what else is going on. I did notice Buzz put out a call free pro account platform for focus schools, things like that, to put online classes to share information about the COVID-19 pandemic. So schools and government entities can use podcast community out there to help kind of spread the word of all sorts of issues around this whole virus.
All right, I've done what I could.
Yeah, I mean it's usually not a problem.
No, and what's weird is I hear you perfectly, but I definitely heard chopping going on.
Okay.
So I don't know why you were clipping and how it's being clipped, because you're running straight out of the Mac Mini right into the board, and you're not being processed at all. So
yeah, I'm not. Well, I guess flip still a little bit. So
and I've got your volume. I can't turn you up anymore here. I've got you as high as I can go. You can always call in on the other line, see if that fixes it.
let me if it's coming out of my
It could be me
that's a
too.
whole different thing. So anyway, I'm not peaking. So
All right. Well, I guess you'll just have to be quiet.
yeah, I'll just. But anyway, so I should probably share because we did promise that Marco Arment is going to join us on the show this week. He had to postpone, so I think we're going to do that the next episode of the New Media Show. Marco is the creator and founder of Overcast. On and join us hopefully in the next episode, Todd, to well, I guess anywhere. I mean, if we do it through StreamYard or do it on your system.
Yeah, I'm going to be here now, I think for at least a couple of weeks. So hopefully we can get him in and get him scheduled.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep our fingers crossed on that. So
maybe do it next Saturday or
yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
But anyway, so other than that, Todd Webster's event next week will be live, and we'll be able to watch that. So you can sign up for they've got an Eventbrite invite, and we'll be able to watch that. And he's promised an extended Q&A time for the event. So we'll go from there on that, I guess.
Yeah, that's the Infinite Dial 20 event March 18th, out of New York. I think he's still venue, but I'm not sure if they changed the venue. I mean, John and he may be doing it on StreamYard or something. Who knows? We should see what's going on there.
But otherwise, in the podcasting space news, it's been relatively quiet. I've been kind of, it looks to me like I was watching some of Cridlin's stuff, and it looked to me like he was looking for Phil, because Mike had to laugh because he says, "Hey, I was like the lead off article on Pod News yesterday." I'm like, well, they must be digging. Must be digging for news.
Well, he led off the headline about the coronavirus stuff. But yes, there was the U.S. Spotify list have passed Pandora in 2019. Pandora listeners in 2019 sooner than expected. So Spotify has passed.
Well, don't know if I don't know. I don't use Spotify that much. So, but where did they get that information? Who announced that information?
It was off of marketer.com.
Oh, so some third party said that there's more.
They've got that Pandora. I know that Pandora's losing share here over the last few years, but I guess they just kind of crossed not by much. I think Pandora's at a 63 million listeners, and Spotify is 5. They're pretty close to.
All right.
But they forecast saying that it could diverge even more a couple of years.
Tom says they're doing it from their homes. They're not using the event location now.
Oh,
so, But
probably safe for everybody, right?
well, I didn't. I got to thinking about it last week about New York and going to the city, and I thought, life has to continue. So I booked my flight, and thank goodness Delta is giving. I don't. I tried to call Delta, and they said, 7-hour hold time on the phones, and this is right after they locked down
What?
Europe.
7 hours.
7 hours, yeah. So I hung up, not calling back in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. I think everybody has 7 hours to wait on.
What was funny was on United, I just went cancel, said your account's been credited, and I went on Delta site and said cancel, it says call an agent. I'm like, just cancel and credit me the flight, Can't be that difficult through an online system, but probably they're not really used to people canceling in bulk.
Right. That's true. And I'm sure a lot of people are.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And it does kind of raise the question, Todd, of how much air travel month, though.
I think people are still going to travel. I just think business travel, which makes up the majority of airline travel,
right,
is going to be done for a while.
So we could see fewer flight choices. I think that they're going to cut back the amount of runs that are going.
Yeah.
Because just fewer passengers. So there's no reason to run flight third full or quarter full.
Even the flights I had already booked, they were like, I had gotten like 3 or 4 rebookings already because they had changed, the number of airplanes on a route. And they were, they basically were saying, go to a different flight. You approve this, say yes or no.
Yeah. See that happening. So we should probably talk about podcast.
Yeah.
What we thought of that event, and you put up our live on stage recording there. I think that turned out really good. It sounded really good. I don't think we had any audio issues with that.
No, I don't think we did. And I'll say one thing about Podfest is that Chris really, he really, if it had been a week later, he'd have had to cancel.
Right.
So he got real lucky on being able to.
Get in.
Yeah, and I'd actually sent him a message saying, anybody reporting back that they've gotten sick, and so we're
right.
I'm kind of watching that. We're more than 7 days past the event now. So any of us that were there in a group, I think, knocking on wood here, of course, we wouldn't know if we had it or not for a lot of people. But, I've been watching it's making sure I'm not running temperature, or, I've been checking myself, and so far so good. But I tell you what, Podcast Movement's going to have to step it up, because that event, I would say 65 to 70% were new people.
Right. Oh, clearly it was. And what was really shocking, I think back, how little of impact the virus thing had on that event. Because people were just like behaving like normal. It wasn't like people were wearing masks or.
You can't get masks, Rob. There's no mask in the country left.
I have them.
Well, okay. What did you order them when this all started, or what?
No, actually, I ordered like 3 or 4 boxes back when the H1N1 hit.
Did you know that you now could be rich? You put 5 of those on eBay for $50 or something.
Yeah, there you go. But then wouldn't expect. But yeah, I was just surprised. It was like normal, right? All that stuff was around us. It was like that event was like an island of itself of normalcy.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of
shaking hands. There were some people were doing fist bumps, but
oh yeah.
But otherwise it was good. But I think overall the feedback we heard was the session rooms were woefully too small. I heard people say I haven't been able to get in 2 or 3 of my sessions that I tried to get into because they were just the rooms were standing room only, people standing 20 deep outside the session rooms.
That's exactly what I said too.
And so he definitely underestimated what he needed. Like I was looking at the app, 347 people signed up for a session, and there was like 60 seats or 70 seats in a room. So, way undersized. And, maybe they just got more signups and didn't realize, but definitely great conversations on the floor from an exhibitor standpoint. But the only bad thing is really no way to scan a badge.
Right.
And no
Well,
one has podcasters. I mean, has business cards.
right. The exhibition area felt like zero, just because of its location. People would go there. It was really close to all of the sessions too. It was right around the corner,
Yep.
and it just felt like there's a lot of traffic. And I think it was a lot to do with, like you said, a lot of new podcasters
Yeah.
that were looking to learn about how to host a podcast. There wasn't a huge amount of, but
No.
there was a good sample. I I was actually surprised, but
I'm glad they weren't.
yeah. I mean, I'm speaking specifically about hosting,
Right.
but I thought it was interesting, really, as I think about it. And I know we talked about it on last show a little bit. Just uh, I thought about a lot about who was right, just from an indie perspective and sponsorship perspective. I mean, I was up in New York prior to the event. Just people up there just didn't know anything about that event down there. It was shocking how much of a divide that that was clearly. I mean, these are all people that were going to podcast events. They're people that are very much plugged in going to podcast. They didn't even know about podcast.
Yeah.
That's been around
They
for 5
didn't
years.
even know it existed.
Yeah, it's been going on for 5 years.
So,
And then Nick had his secret Hot Pod Summit that March 5th, which was the same day that I flew. So, it's just kind of see that, and it's disappointing to see that there is more crossover.
well, it shows you that the big networks, the mid rolls of the world, the Panoplies, the Gimlets, the Transistors, all those folks don't care about indie podcasters.
I mean, is that? I mean, I guess that's that must be part of what's going on, right? I mean, that's the only explanation why we didn't see. Pandora was the only one at
Pandora was there,
podcast, was the only one that was there
and they were
from
talking to a lot of people.
all of the large platforms too. Me, Apple was.
They were
So,
demonstrating I didn't get to see it, but they were demonstrating their upcoming stats. They're being very careful about getting ready to roll that out.
but Todd, I guess to be fair about it, probably a lot of the reason why we didn't see a lot of folks, the other bigger platforms and the bigger media companies, is because of the virus.
I
I don't.
But
I don't know.
you already know they didn't even know the event was happening. So I don't know. I'm not going to give them that much credit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, some of the people that I talked to up in New York about it were early folks that were part of the big platform.
Right.
Just people that were in the ad business, people that were working show production, like that. So I think there is a perception that of fairly for professional producers or the big radio network, or it's just not the kind of event that they you would think to go to. And I'm not sure why they draw the because I mean podcast.
Yeah. Well, I was really, and I think I was asking everyone where they're from. And what it made me kind of realize is that even though it was North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, large numbers from Florida, large numbers from the Tampa, Orlando area.
Right.
And if they got, there wasn't 1,800 at the show. I would say
No.
11 or 1,200 at the show.
Yeah.
If they could draw that many from that region, it just shows you that, we can't afford to do all these events, but there could be an event in Florida. There could be an event like this done, much bigger. There's opportunities for folks that are having events on the East Coast. And then there could be you could have this mid-America. Then you could do Seattle and probably LA and, probably pull the same type of numbers. But, who can afford to do 10 trade shows? My company can't.
Up in the New York area, I mean, a lot of those events there, and I talked to a few people about them too, are like the events.
Right.
There isn't, maybe a lot of these folks just have the jobs or the opportunity to go to a multi-day event out of town.
And definitely the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday worked,
right.
Because we had people that came Saturday. They could not come on Friday.
Right.
Because they were working. And it's been my big complaint about Podcast Movement. It's turned into a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday event.
Right. Which tends to attract the
businesses.
Podcast.
Right.
Yeah. So unless there's a weekend component that for indie folks come to at Movement, yeah, I agree with you. It's probably not going to be as popular of an event for the indie producer.
But as a podcast host that's exhibiting for us, it's all, same thing for you guys. Great you're hosting at Libsyn. Great, happy to see you that you're hosting with us. And let's answer some questions. And, thanks for coming. But in the end, we're trying to add 200-300 new hosting customers to the platform.
Right.
And if I don't see 200-300 new podcasters, I'm just there waving the flag saying, yeah, we're still in business.
Yeah. Sure. Todd, I mean, did you feel like that the network fees at podcast not as great as it could have been?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I was there for some of the days. There wasn't really any evening. So, I mean, I think that was the feedback that I gave you. They sent out an email, the survey.
Right.
Give feedback to the event. And that's the feedback that I gave, is that I think Podcast Movement does a pretty outstanding job of having for our events. I think the Podcast Movement to have the loud music at those that make it hard for people to the network to talk. That's one thing that I think Podcast did a pretty good job of at their network event generally.
Yeah, I would have a tendency to agree.
Yeah. So Dan and Jared, take that feedback for what it's worth.
Well, I think Dan and Jared are also hands tied, because sometimes the sponsor will say,
we'll do it, not the...
Yeah. And Dan and Jared have little input on whether or not it's going to be 800 decibels or not.
Yeah, that's a good point, Todd. And it depends on the music, the music provider or whatever that's brought in.
Yeah.
Event.
Now, I'll give them credit at podcast. Go ahead. I'll give them credit. Podcast Move Evolutions, the Valentine's Day night event was perfect.
Right.
That event, we could all sit around and talk. We didn't have to yell. Have a cocktail. That was a perfect networking event. And, if I was ever going to write the big check for $35,000 or $40,000, whatever it costs to hold one of those evening parties, that's what I would do too. And if you look at where were we at in Pittsburgh? Or was it Philly? We're Philly, right? We're in Philly.
Yeah, podcast last year.
Yeah, Philly. So that event in that marketplace,
2 years.
yeah, 2 years ago, that event was perfect too, because you could get close to the loud music, or you could walk 50 feet away and still have a conversation. So
yeah, I think they had it in that market to the hotel, right?
yeah.
So huge facility, right? They could put music in one location. There was plenty of other places to go in the facility to get away from.
So on Podfest though, they had a party Sunday night. I had already flown out. Did you go to the party Sunday night?
Yeah.
And how was that?
That's where Dave Jack. There was a on stage.
No. That was Saturday night.
That was Saturday night.
Yeah, the following night they had a closing party. The last day of the event.
Oh yeah. There wasn't really any music, so yeah. So that was good, but it wasn't really much of an event.
Everyone left.
Everybody off because the event so early.
Yeah.
So.
And the first night they had some sort of network thing in the ballroom. I didn't participate in that, where you sit down at tables and
right.
I'd much rather mingle.
Right. So Todd, I mean, that we were planning on having meetings with the RSS Coalition. I guess we can still plan on doing that for Pod Movement. So hopefully this thing will lift.
At the same time, though, we got to get some other stuff going with that group to see if we can get some work done between now and August or whenever that event is.
And I think getting more people from history in there, I think, should be a goal too.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Yeah, I see where it's going on with this clipping. I don't understand. It's definitely on my end at this point, but I don't know why. I'm looking at my audio scale, and
still saying we're clipping.
Well, and I don't know why we're clipping, because I'm looking at the input, and it's, according to my board here in front of me, it's minus. We're not getting any higher than minus 20, and I'm not even getting in the yellow, but somehow we're still clipping from time to time. I don't understand it. So I've got some troubleshooting to do on my end. So for those of you on the stream, my apologies.
A balance job.
Yeah, and so with this new computer, I put this new computer in, and Apple does not have they got rid of now you only have one port. And so you have to buy a utility, a dongle to basically hook audio up. And so that's where lies the issue. So anyway, so what else is going on in the space?
Interesting question. Like you said, they're kind of quieted down a little bit. I have noticed that there's more and more of these rating charts starting to pop up.
Yeah. And actually, I was going to talk about it. Let me find it. An email had come in from a company that's making some really bold claims. A company I've never heard of before. Let's see if I can find it here. I think I put it over here. Yeah. So let me go over here. I've got a little notepad where I'm tracking companies. It's a company called Backtrack. Yeah.
Backtrack is one right now. Go to backtrack.f /chart/top-500.
Now listen to this claim. Among the features that Backtrack says it can offer is allowing the podcaster to have the ability to know whether someone who auto-downloaded an episode has actually listened to the show, and whether that listener finished an episode, listened to specific ads, or slipped over content. That includes giving publishers data of who is listening to their content, listen to this. That includes giving publishers data who is listening to their content, which segments they actually listen to, what parts they skipped on, and what devices, including demographics, sought after by potential advertisers and partners. this is a bold claim by Backtrack. Is saying
Right.
that they can. Okay, someone. I'm going to put on my hat here. I'm going to call absolute, unequivocal, in my opinion, BS that they on. So they're going to tell me that someone that is auto subscribe via Apple Podcast. No, let's say by Overcast. They can tell me how much, who actually listens. There's got to be
and that they list how far they list. They list the various parts.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's got to be some other piece there that's probably on our player or on our app. It's not, that's a blanket statement that is unequivocally, in my opinion, more than likely false.
Right. Or it's exaggerated. Yeah.
So if they have a player or if they have an app, of course they can do that.
But it's only going to be a sample.
A sample. Right.
It's not going to, can't make a claim that you can do this across all the lists.
Not possible.
No.
So
Just ask Marco Arment. See what his answer is.
right. So if they, so that's a pretty bold, bold, bold. Oh, they don't even own backtracks.com. What is the website?
Backtrack.
Oh, must be they couldn't afford the.
Or it was available.
Yeah, someone else owns it.
Yeah. Are
And
they using a redirect or something? I don't even know how they're getting this to begin with. They even have a rank.
they say Backtrack Podcast Analytics works on any device, any host, any podcast, powered by the open source podcast analytics standard, which is problematic in itself.
Right.
Our tools, SDKs, and APIs add advanced capabilities, yet is simple and easy to use. So they've got a player, of course. They're showing a player on their site that, that for sure could track, where someone is listening and where they've jumped out.
But that's only going to be a sample.
And who are these folks? Let me look.
Looking at it says it was founded in 2016. Got thousands of service.
Uh-huh.
Zero privacy invaded.
Uh-huh. In my opinion. They got a bunch of videos.
It does say.
Yeah, we don't know who they are. Let's see what their pricing is. Well, they don't list their pricing on their website when you click pricing.
They even have a business model.
So they have a product called Switchboard. Yeah. Okay. So it just irritates me that when there's articles that are published online about this, and I'm just going to call the publisher out that did this. If you're going to be insider radio, why you don't ask questions?
Because I don't know. Maybe there really isn't a lot of journalism going on here.
Oh, is it just reposting the press release?
Yeah.
And they've got a top 500 ranker. They're not. How are they measuring these? They're not measuring these. Where's the source of this data?
Right. They don't validate their credibility.
Are they taking stuff off of Apple Podcasts and putting together a list? There's no explanation on how they do this chart. So,
Just look.
Well, again, they've gotten a bunch of money. For some reason, I got to unhook that computer from my phone. Because every time a phone comes in, you just disappear off the screen, and Max tell me, "Hey, you got a phone call coming in."
Great.
Yeah.
So it shows Joe Rogan is the number one podcast. Shows Supernatural with the Flowers, 2
Yep.
podcasts from Haircast. The Daily for 3. Number 4 is Coronavirus Fact First Fix from CNN. So I guess there's been a real spike the number of coronavirus. No, that was covered on Pod News as well.
So
Which makes sense. Which makes people want to find out so that there's CDC podcasts as well that have been talking about the virus as well.
there's a
And so,
bunch.
yeah, some of these are putting out, I say, not contradictory, but sometimes the advice I've listened to are putting out different advice about what to do, what you're hearing from mainstream media. And they're typically the people that are being brought in these programs are real medical, virological professionals. Some of them are saying wear a mask in public places.
That's interesting.
And the reason that they're saying that is that cutting down on the potential of you breathing in
breathing in.
the like if somebody sneezes or coughs,
Right.
it cuts down on the potential small droplets, mist, air you will take into your body. But they do say to take it off outside of group areas with people around.
Well, seeing that you can't buy any, and they're out, and they've already been basically vendors have said 95% of Americans are not going to get a mask probably for the next 6 months.
Right.
You know,
they're all sold out. I do see ads for them on Amazon.
Oh yeah, they've got ads for them. Go ahead and try to buy some.
Yeah, I think I saw one place have one box, 20 of them. It was like $100 or something.
Yeah, come on, that's just someone price gouging. But when this is all over, I bet you every household in America will stockpile 100 of these.
Well, that's what I did back with the that was like four or 5 years ago, and guess what? Reused one of them.
Right.
So
they're probably all dry rotted. You put one on, and so here's the business to be in, and here's probably what you need to do. Take some old blue jeans. No, I'm serious. Cut some old blue jeans up and make some mask. It doesn't have to be, that's the same effectiveness that it's going to have because you're not form fitted. The air's getting around.
Right.
And by the way,
those masks are hard to breathe.
And, no. But just remember, air will take the path of least resistance. So even if you're got a mask on and it's not form fit, the air's coming around and in. It's not coming through them. You're not breathing through the mask. You're not getting most of your air through there.
They're hard to breathe through those.
Because they're not.
I agree with you.
So I think more of the mask is going to help you prevent touching your face. You're going to contaminate the outside of the mask.
Right.
So that
should you be wearing like surgical gloves too? That's
well then okay.
Well.
All right, then how many of those are you really going to need? Surgical glove,
Well, but that is going to keep you from touching your face too.
You might be surprised. Wear some surgical gloves and see how often you touch your face. Having gone to CES for all these years, I have, I got in the habit, and I'm out of habit, to be honest with you, of doing this. Touching my face with the back of my hand. But the problem is if you're shaking hands, that doesn't help you anyway. Because you're rubbing your face where someone's fingers were on your hand. So this is probably the most talked about topic in America right now, and probably people are sick of it. But it's just it is. What are you going to do?
Right. is there a comment after Facebook?
Yeah, a little bit. They're saying crazy,
About where
isn't
we
it? Perfect time to be working in online education. I'm very fortunate to be working for a virtual school. That's from Lou. And then Greg said earlier, Greg from Source Audio said, a friend that runs a very business admin biz from her home just posted network and bandwidth issues are a nightmare. Guess we'll see if the ISPs can step up or if they're the next weak link in the value chain. Here's what they're finding in Italy. I did a story about it last night on my show, Geek News Central, was that all the kids are at home. So they're all doing Minecraft and all these virtual head-to-head games. So the network over there is barely surviving because these kids are online 24/7. And what normally would be a slow time because they're at school and businesses are using the internet,
Right.
that traffic is all together right now with everyone being online at the same time. And in Europe, they're having to lay in more, basically more data and firing up some fiber. So there's definitely, I'm sure we're going to see more stories about this as this ramps up and people are doing video conferencing from home and everything else, how the bandwidth, especially if you live in a metro area, but and especially they shut the schools down. Now here in my local community, they just closed the schools. So we have no cases in this area whatsoever. The closest case is like 100 miles away. And they're closing the schools through the middle of April at this point. And they're going virtual. They did a poll at the school to find out how many kids have internet at home. And because this is a largely rural community, these kids, most of these kids have like 3 down. So they barely have enough to do video. So
yeah, I mean, I think you're right about it. Bandwidth, some of the communities, because if you look at some of the DSL connections that are out there, especially in the rural, basically, essentially like party line.
right.
I mean, a lot of young people don't put a party line.
Yeah.
It's basically where your connection runs through a community and it's all shared. It's
Yeah.
all the internet. It's a lot of bandwidth, but it's all metered at each of homes. There's only so much through that pipe. If everybody's streaming Netflix, doing video conference, gonna dash the pipe.
Yeah. So it's so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the bandwidth. We'll see if they can keep it up.
So,
Yeah.
so anyway, I think anything else pop in the news? I know that there's an article in Podcast Business talking 3 big take pod 20 over, maybe check that one out too.
So what was their commentary?
It was mainly about the content of it. I know that the keynote speaker, which I thought was really interesting, Ronsley Vaz, who worked with Gary Vaynerchuk, he did a presentation at the event. He actually didn't make it to his scheduled presentation time, so they put him on stage today. And thought, I think you had already left doing this, but they put him on stage just prior. How he usually does. Chris does the thanking of everyone for putting up on stage and stuff like that. Well, Ronsley did his presentation just prior to that, and he worked for Gary Vaynerchuk and talked about how podcasts to not copy Gary. I guess there's a lot of trying to copy what Gary's.
Yeah.
To be this controversial character, calling people out, saying that's probably not a good thing to do. Now, granted, that could be a little bit of a self-serve thing, somewhat. I have to say, but I think it is true that I think each of us have our own personalities and our own capabilities, our own understanding of the world around us. We need to tap into that and be who we are, not try and copy others.
So that was the takeaway.
That was my take
Oh,
from it. Yeah. So, I mean, he talked about psychology, and what drives the audience. When you look at Gary's, he's he's a pretty person. He's a fast talker. He tries to stay at the cutting edge of social media and that. So, I would love to get Gary on the show. It's Gary over the years, but it'd be interesting to have him on his perspective. We
I,
might be able to get that done.
I
So,
doubt he would go on for an hour
I don't know. We'll see.
because he's kind of like a 10-minute full blast and he's done.
Well,
You
that's
know,
true. He is a shotgun. That's a good description for.
you know,
He
I.
has a message, shoots it out, makes a lot of noise.
So what did you think about the interview with Adam Curry on?
I haven't listened to it at all yet. I haven't had 3 hours.
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing, and I will disagree with a couple people who said it was not worth listening to.
Oh,
I think it was.
I think Fridland said about it.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
Well, because Fridland's radio and Curry is anti-establishment. So a lot of the stuff Adam talking about is anti-establishment stuff. And
Well, he's always. There's no surprise. With that,
no,
but, right.
I don't know if that's why Fridland didn't like it or not, but you know, and and I will say this: Adam got a few dates wrong, but I would have to have a cheat sheet in front of me too, would basically lay out every year that things happened. And
So when did he? I mean, what date? Do you remember what he got wrong?
some stuff that happened real early on, and he did get, at least he got the names right. Well, he did give credit where credit's due on the naming of podcast and the first podcast, and all this stuff that happened. I think that was accurate. I think that has been well defined. So I think they got a little baked. I think I think that always drives the conversation. I don't know. I don't smoke weed, so
Adam, the reputation, maybe a lot of people in the medium don't really understand of wanting to rewrite history. So,
well, I think I don't think he rewrote any history. Not that I could tell from the.
okay. Well, that's good.
I think that was, there may have been some dates a little, but the general history of when things happened and what led up to it. I think it's important to have that perspective.
You remember, yeah. I mean, you remember what media with,
right?
I mean, that's what basically took it down. Being an esteemed leader of this medium, what happened there, right?
Well, I don't really, be honest with you, I don't remember that.
No, I do. There's a lot of people that were really, really critical. He was going in there and changing the Wikipedia reference to history of podcasting and making sure that he was kind of fabricating some of the timeline things that happened, so it made it look better for. So
well, I think if we look at, here's the undisputed fact: he wrote the damn script to be able to move media.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. He wrote the first script with some help from Apple.
Right.
He even admits that he got some code from somebody at Apple to write the script to be able to move the enclosure to the iPod.
Yeah.
And from there, a whole bunch of bunch of apps came up. He also was the first to give his directory to help populate the first version of Apple Podcasts,
right,
of what then was iTunes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, undisputedly, yep, someone else named podcasting. And that really goes between, there was 2 incidences where it was mentioned way early, then again, and then you
You
know,
talk to Dave, Adam, and they'll tell you a completely different story. I mean, I was involved, was in that same article. I was mentioned in the same article, and I had the guy that wrote the article for the Guardian. He was on my show 2 weeks before he wrote the article. So yeah, I clearly, but Adam and Dave claimed that they had named podcast like
no,
6 months before that.
no, I
Yeah,
don't. Well,
I
Ben,
got
there
into an
was,
argument on Twitter with
well,
Dave
that's not
about
the
it. Like,
history he's reporting now.
okay, that's good.
Because it's not Ben. What was the other guy's name? Ben Hammersley and
Ben and Ben was yes,
but there was
like
another guy that did
before
something
he wrote the
before. What
article.
was his name? I can't remember. Doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking
But
about.
there was another reference to the word pot. Who gives? The name is the name. It's the mechanics of what happened that really changed and made the evolution of what the media is today. So,
Right, and
uh,
I think it was more of a how use it too. Is I mean, I also recall. I think you were involved too. Um, very early on, podcast community at very was very much against.
I never was. I thought it was a perfect name, but
I know, but many
yeah, many were against the name.
were totally against.
Yeah.
Didn't like that it was associated with one listen.
Well, and what happened too is Apple came and did the hammer on a couple of apps
Right,
legally
right.
that that
Yeah,
caused and so it caused people got confused and thought that Apple was going to put the hammer on the word podcast, and they
well,
didn't.
they put the hammer on the word pod.
Pod, yeah, on the apps
So
that were using
that's
like
right.
iPodder or something like that. Yeah,
Exactly. They
yeah,
sent out the system
and,
to the many in the that were coming up with companies that were using the word pod.
yeah,
Uh, and a lot of those companies had to change,
yeah,
or they went out of
yeah.
business.
And it
So
was mostly apps. There was no businesses in those early days. It was the iPodder app and some of those others that they
yeah,
should have known better.
right.
you know,
But I don't blame Apple for that because they were just defending their trademark. But it is true that it did kind of suppress the early days of the medium because there was a lot of energy growing around this whole medium back then, and that did kind of put a for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. So like
So
this big
Clinton, he was on Joe Rogan.
yeah
So,
yeah yeah.
so that's who he was on. And
So a lot of people at that conversation. Sure. So
yeah, it was episode 1436 on Joe Rogan. So, and again, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that, Clinton, you go through and listen to it. Let us know. You were here from the beginning. So,
well, Todd, why do you think that Adam doesn't come out and get involved like, or get involved in the industry podcast
you know, he
anymore? What's your thought?
he does 7 hours of show a week. And I think he spends an enormous amount of time prepping.
Yeah.
I don't know, does he get invited?
I I frankly think people have given up because he's said no so many times. So anyway, yeah,
I
I don't
like
know.
Adam a lot. And I truly, I know I personally would
Do you?
not be here.
No, I know. I agree with
Blueberry and everything we did would not exist. I
you.
mean,
Right.
absolutely not exist without.
Yeah.
It's sheer luck.
Well, Todd, let's get Adam to. I mean, if you're willing to try and invite Adam on this
Oh,
show,
I'd love to ask, see if I can. I
I,
think I've asked in the past.
right? I mean, I've done. You do a search for conversation. You've done an interview with.
Yeah.
I've done. Rob. I don't know if Rob Walsh is. I think mine was like an hour and a half long, but that was back.
Yeah.
And I haven't really talked to Adam that often. I know you have.
I don't
probably
talk to Adam too much. I'll tweet him or something,
right.
I try not to bother him too much.
Yeah,
But
I think I've talked to Dave.
let's see here. Let me look at when my interview was with him. It's been 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Didn't you have him on your?
Yeah, it's in 2017, and there was a few things he said during that interview that the dates were a little off. So I think he helps. Can you remember everything in 2004, 3? No.
I can remember what I did when the whole podcast started. I was involved in platforms that were doing almost exact podcast. So there were technologies from companies like Microsoft that Sync and Go product 2002 to 2005 that basically synchronized audio and video Windows XP over to a Pocket C device. If everyone listening remembers what a Pocket C device, it was very similar to what we know of today as a smartphone or an iPod. But
They got no traction, though. Come on.
Pocket PCs?
Well, that didn't get no traction. Come on.
Sold millions of those
Okay,
things.
well, people weren't listening to audio on them.
Yeah, they.
Okay.
I mean, it worked exactly the same way. I mean, I was my radio show was on that. I know how many people listened to the show because I saw numbers. It was in the millions.
Minuscule adoption, Rob. Come on.
Well, I mean, if you look at the scale of global internet, you're right, Todd. I mean, it was a minuscule portion that was using that platform, but it was basic concept. But it was what it was right platform.
Right. Lockdown, gatekeeper.
Exactly, and there was only 13 content.
Right. So it goes back to, why that's why podcasting worked and that didn't.
Well, I got paid 25
Okay,
cents.
you got, but you got to understand, you were one of 13.
I know.
13. There's.
I tried to get them to open it up some more, and that they shut it prior to on Windows Mobile. So I tried to get one ported over to Windows Mobile, and they didn't do it.
So we had 50 shows the first month of podcasting that were global distribution with no stinking gatekeepers, and you guys had 13. That was, come on.
Yeah.
Say what you will.
I know.
That wasn't podcasting. That was controlled distribution.
It was. It's not the same thing. I agree with you 150%. I also don't get paid cents per download.
No, you don't. If I could get paid 25 cents a download, they could have the whole thing.
Hey, that's our new goal for a business model.
I tell my audience, if each one of you give me $2, I could hire like 4 people.
All we want is 25 cents per download.
I wanted $2 a month. All I wanted from my audience was $2 a month, 50 cents. No, a quarter. If I do 8 shows a month, I need a quarter an episode. That's 25 cents a download. If I can get a quarter from every listener, just a quarter for every show.
Right.
Change
there's been a lot of people that play around with micro.
I could blow that wall out, and we could have 3,000 more feet and open up a creator space for 50 people. All I need is a quarter from every listener.
It's totally possible. You know that, right?
Oh, actually, yeah. No, right? It's not. It's not. Yeah, it is not.
Think about it.
Because only. Okay, I don't. All right. Every podcaster that's listening. Every podcaster is listening. Take your audience.
People that listen to this podcast would give us
10%. 10%. 5%.
They must have valued the program.
That's not no value for value. It's you know,
Yeah.
if we could duplicate Adam's model, I would actually do a lot of prep.
Well, let's talk about he goats his audience donate.
No, it's value for value. It's not goading.
He gives people a time if they donate.
No,
right?
it calls if his audience calls. He never dogs anybody that doesn't give a donation. The audience members that donate call other audience members douchebags.
Right.
But John and Adam never calls anyone a douchebag. Their audience calls other members a douchebag for not donating.
Good cop, bad deal, right?
The good cop is the producers, the people that listen. They're listeners.
Right. Yeah, but they don't they?
No, they do not. They don't. They never call anybody a douchebag. You haven't listened to the show very much.
No, I haven't.
But what they really said, though, what they really do is they say if you value, he goes into this in some detail on the Rogan's episode. But
I mean, is there a tip here that the creator?
Absolutely, and that's why I say every podcaster that wants to do donations, no one,
This is how to do it. Right?
no one. I would just, if someone finds someone that does donations better, please send me the show. Send me the show. I want to hear it. I want to listen to it 100 times. Yeah. No one does a donation better than Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. No one does it better in this space. I challenge anyone to find a show that does it better and brings in the type of revenue they bring in.
Right.
They will say, if they've had a slow donation month, they'll say, well, if you want us to continue doing the show, it's true. It's true because that's their income.
It's not believable that they would. Right.
Well, come on. There is some salesmanship going on.
Yes, there is.
But at the same time, they do a value for value. They get input from the audience. They have a tiering system, right, which is royal titles. You can become a duke, a knight, a baron, and rightly so, because people are donating thousands and thousands of dollars to that show.
Right. Yeah.
Why? Why are they donating thousands and thousands of dollars? Because they
foster a community that wants to fit into the community.
Yeah, and they call them producers, and they're not listeners. They've got a chat room that they call the troll room, and 1,400 people show up and troll. They tell them troll away. 14. They don't call them a chat room; they call it a troll room.
Oh, great! Well, I guess realize what it's going to be.
Right. And they do fact checking for them while they're doing the show. They tell the audience, find us that date. Someone goes find the audience in the troll room. So, unless you've listened to the show, as much as I've talked about it on the show, everyone should go listen to the damn thing once or twice. They're equal opportunity smashers. Some days they're beating up on Republicans. Some days they're beating up on Democrats. I'm sure they're having a field day with coronavirus. And they're finding
I did see that they have new cover art up the last 2 episodes.
Every episode has a new album art.
I know, Todd. I can't drink beer and get
of course
the virus.
So, but they have but you didn't hear that. They have people that compete for album art. They have 6 or 7 album art donations that are being done while they're streaming live. They stream audio live, not video. And there are people that are listening to the show, that are listening to the topics, and they create album art for the show during the show and upload it that Adam and John pick from post-show. And that is their new show album art. Okay. They have thousands of... So what audience in the podcasting space has an audience that creates new show art every episode for them? They don't create it. Their audience does. They're producer.
So what you're saying is episode art really show art.
Right. They put new show art up every episode.
Right.
So you never know what you're going to get. I always laugh when I look at it because it
Well,
changes
not
from
all platforms
no,
update health tech,
no. So it's
that's
show
the
art.
problem.
Yeah, it's show art.
Right.
So it is funny,
It's
and so,
pretty smart, actually, I have to say.
but they got to the point where their donation segment got so long they had to split it into two. So they have the 200 and up segment, and they have the 200 and below segment. And anybody that is 50 and below, they don't even get mentioned. They just get thanked.
Right. Because that's peanuts.
And it probably takes depending on the show, it could take 30 to 45 minutes to get through the two donation segments. And here's what it is. The donation segment is actually content for the show because people send in notes and they'll talk about something, 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 and they'll discuss the note that came in as part of the show, along with play clips. They probably play 30 clips during the show that they've actually curated from ABC, CBS, Al Jazeera, da 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 da, and they will talk about the stupidity. It's media deconstruction. They deconstruct what people say, try to figure out if there's an agenda, trying to find the CIA spook, all this stuff that they do. It has a life of its own, and it's brilliant how they have devised that show. And if you can just leave your politics at the door,
Right. Just be open to both.
yeah, and listen, one day you're thinking, man, are they conservative? And the next day you listen to him say, boy, are they liberal?
Right.
or it runs the gambit. And I think
Well,
if I was to,
given that thought, I can see why they called their chat control room.
yeah, and I can
They're
guess,
attracting both sides.
I
Right.
can guess that, I can guess John C. Dvorak, he sounds like he's a Democrat. I can kind of maybe over time have guessed that, but you really don't know. And Adam, I have no idea. I have no idea which side of the fence he votes on because one day it's one way and the next day it's the next. And I can say they're equal opportunity smashers. And I've spent a lot of time on this topic, and I think the reason that I have is because podcasters can learn. He is a master in being able to get audience engaged. Just the engagement from the audience alone, most podcasts, and take the money out. Take the money out.
I think this all this isn't something he was expert at in the early. I think he's done this because the show that John Dvorak just played around with models to see what works. I think they've solved the puzzle
Yeah.
to find a model that actually works, but it may not work every podcast.
Yeah.
I think the type of podcast he does is uniquely positioned to take the model that
Just listen to the beginning of their show. You
right.
listen to the first 5 minutes of the show, and they've changed from having intro music to just jumping into it's.
Just like us.
Yeah,
Right?
they've
We don't do any of that stuff. I mean, and some people will criticize having a professional produced show or not editing or
well, look what we did today. Spent the first 17 minutes of this trying to fix the audio, live.
right.
And the audio's broke, and I'm still telling people in the saying what I hear you perfectly, but going over the stream, it's chopping. So
Yeah, but the other side of that is that's normal for podcasts. What happens to us is normal experience
right.
for somebody that's doing a podcast. And I think we're just being real with our audience
Yeah.
about we're not perfect either. Things go haywire for what we do. We've been doing this time.
And I put a new Mac Mini over there, and that's the problem. The audio levels coming out of that Mac Mini aren't where they're supposed to be.
Right. So you have to tweak stuff. It doesn't mean you stop podcasting because you can't, get things perfect.
And if it pisses me off too much, I'll put the old Mac Mini over there and put the new one there, and then I'll fix it.
Right. I mean, we all want to fix things. It's just like a podcast. I did a live show with a brand. We had audio issues with that because my microphone wasn't getting picked up properly by the audio interface
Right.
that Ross was using. So, and then we had sunlight in from the the building hitting our faces. You've had a problem
Yeah,
before with your old studio. You had sun hit your forehead.
coming right down a line, right down the middle
Right.
of my head.
Right. So things come up, and you can't always predict everything. I'm always hopeful that things go smooth, right? Because more than likely it's not, right? So that you can have the best equipment in the world, so go. But
And like it is today. I can hear
yeah,
you perfectly here. The recording is going to be perfect, but when I went out
right,
over the TriCaster is caca.
right. But nonetheless, show goes on. We have listeners,
Yeah.
and people are hopefully having a good listening to the show today.
And
And
hopefully they laugh at us, you
right,
bunch of idiots.
right.
You guys
Those
call yourself part
OGs,
of the podcast
those
Hall of Fame and you can't even get your audio right?
right, exactly. Those OGs together.
We probably don't. We're too old to get it right. That's part of the problem.
No, I don't think that's a problem. But not too old for anything. God. So,
Oh,
all right.
at this point in time, what we really need to do is we just need more lightheartedness. Too much seriousness going on in the world right now. We need some comedy shows.
Right.
I was on a 3.5 hour car drive from Columbus back up here to the studio yesterday, and I had it on. I will do an admission. I was listening to Stern. I could only handle him for so long, and I'm just like, what a he was being a total buzzkill, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. It was like listening to. I don't listen to mainstream media news. I can't because it doesn't matter who doesn't. I don't care who it is.
Right.
It doesn't care if it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC. Whenever I have those, to turn it off. If you listen to mainstream media news, turn it off for a week. Your mental health will be better.
Yeah.
I just feel my apprehension going up. And when I was listening to him, I listened to him to be entertained. I don't listen to get apprehensive. And I was getting apprehensive. I'm like, I don't need to listen to this. I have a choice. So what I flipped on a comedy podcast that I listen to rarely, and I had a great laugh the last hour of the drive home.
Right.
I have the choice of the thumb to be able to select what I want on my player, and
Yeah.
this is the beauty of podcasting. We can tune all this absolute shit out of our lives and fill our brain with stuff that we want to listen to,
Yeah.
and not be forced to listen to this garbage that's being portrayed to us.
Right. We do have a choice.
Because
Yeah.
everybody's
Now,
an
now
effing
more than ever.
expert. We don't, we don't need no stinking experts. We just need people, I don't know. Get me on a roll here. So the mainstream media is, so sick. And you think about it just think about how manipulated we were in the days before the internet. Because the news narrative we know today is out of control. Doesn't matter what network, there's an agenda. And we know there's an agenda. But if you go back to the days of, let's say, when you had ABC, CBS, NBC, and Concrete came on the news, it was news, we thought, but still, we had no alternative views. So what he said was gospel and trusted. And were we being manipulated back then? Yeah,
Probably
I
to
think
some degree by our government.
so. Podcasting now allows us to be manipulated by 1,000 voices instead of 3. So,
That's a better world, though.
well,
I'm not going.
I think what it is it gives you a bigger perspective. Having listened to over 100 shows every 2 weeks for many years now, there's a lot of great perspectives out there.
Well, I think, Todd, what's also happened, news is used with opinion now.
No, it's not news. It's entertainment. There's no news.
No, well, I guess that's the point. it's all about emotion, right?
Yeah.
So what these media companies are doing are driving our emotion.
Right. Right.
I I give advice to podcasts too. I mean, what you do is show needs to drive emotional reaction.
Yeah.
If you want to connect people connect based on how they feel about each other.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Create an emotional reaction, and then that creates a bond that keeps coming back.
Yep.
And I think the lesson that can be learned from big media is that they're playing that game too.
And they play it very well.
They're very talented at it. Right.
So, everyone, I apologize today about the audio. For those of you that are on the live stream, for those of you that are listening later, you don't care. It was perfect, as always.
Right.
As perfect as we can get it without editing. And I'll work on the pipeline here. We'll figure out what's going on. Something got twisted or moved, or it's this new piece of gear that's in there that's overdriving. And I don't understand why I'm not hearing it on this, but I'm hearing it over there. So, but wow, we made it to an hour 30. So are you in lockdown? Are you going to be, I guess we're going to be able to do this next Saturday then, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All
I'll
right.
be moving around a little. Not too much.
If we can get Marco, I'm flexible. I can do anytime. So if he's worth like moving to his schedule.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So just if we get a date or two and time or two, let's get him. And then because I'd like to get him on and hear his perspective, I think that would be a very entertaining hour and a half.
And I would love if you want to reach out to Adam and got even a half hour to.
Yeah, well, I'm going to push for 90 minutes because we can talk for 90 minutes with him. He talked for 3 hours with on that other show, and we got 45 minutes worth of usable information out of there.
Right. I agree.
So
he's willing to do it. That's great.
So I just got this message. This is a Mac thing. Time Machine completed verification of your backups on. To improve reliability, Time Machine must create a new backup for you. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So who knows what's going on there? Mac and its in weirdo stuff it does in Time Machine. Okay, nice. Everyone. Todd at blueberry.com at Geek News is the Twitter account.
I'm at Twitter as well, at Rob Greenlee with 2 E's on the end. RobGreenlee.com. And if you want to reach out to me, certainly send an email to robg@libsyn, LIBSYN.com.
And we thank you for tuning in with us. Those of you on the live stream, thanks for being here. And we had a pretty big crowd. We had as many as 20 in the room, but I think some of them bounced because of audio, but we'll get that fixed. And everyone, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time on the New Media Show. Everyone, take care.
Great. Bye.
Bye.